Today, we are going to build something that I think is really, really important. A practical blueprint for what great supervision actually looks like. Making it effective, ethical, and honestly successful for everyone involved. Whether you're the one giving the supervision or getting it, this is about how to get it right. Okay, let's get into it.
So right out of the gate, let's look at the difference here because it's like night and day. On one side, you've got that classic sink or swim approach, right? Here you go, good luck. No guidance, no structure, nothing. But on the other side, you have a real plan, a thoughtful, supportive process. The gap between these two isn't just a matter of style, it's about outcomes, safety, and competence. And that's exactly the gap our blueprint is here to fill.
So here's our game plan for today. First, we're going to talk about what a supervisor's role really is. Then we'll lay down the ethical foundation, the stuff you just can't skip. After that, we'll get into the human side of things, the relationship itself. Then the real nuts and bolts, the core process. And finally, we'll snap all those pieces together into a finished blueprint you can actually use. All right, first things first, we have got to get crystal clear on what a supervisor is supposed to be. Because spoiler alert, it is so much more than just being the boss. I want you to think of this definition as our North Star for this whole conversation. See, a supervisor isn't just a manager. They're a teacher, a guide. Their main job, their whole purpose really, is to make sure a trainee develops competence the right way. That means correctly, ethically, and in a way that is safe for everybody. And this quote just nails it. This is the mission statement. This is the guiding principle behind every single decision a supervisor should make. The goal is competence, for sure. But the non-negotiable condition? No harm. Not to clients, not to coworkers, and not to the trainee themselves.
Okay, now let's start laying the foundation of this whole thing. We're talking ethics and accountability. And let me be clear, these are not just nice-to-haves. This is the concrete. This is the bedrock that the entire structure rests on. Without it, the whole thing just falls apart.
So the first pillar is this idea of scope of competence. It's basically about staying in your lane. Just because you're a rock star in one area doesn't mean you're qualified to supervise in another. If you're an expert in early intervention for toddlers, that doesn't automatically mean you can supervise adult residential care. You can only guide people where you've actually walked the path yourself.
And really, it doesn't get any clearer than this. It's a really simple, powerful rule. If you don't know it inside and out, you just can't be the one teaching it. Period.
Next up is something that can sneak up on you: volume. When a supervisor is juggling too many people or too many cases, quality is always the first thing to go. You start missing details, your feedback gets generic, and pretty soon, both the trainee and the clients are at risk. It's just simple math, isn't it? If you spread yourself too thin, nobody gets the focus and attention they actually need to grow. It ends up being a disservice to everyone.
What's so interesting here is that accountability isn't just one single thing. It's a whole web of responsibilities. The supervisor is on the hook for the services, the training, the paperwork, and the results. The buck really does stop with them. Oh man, this is a big one. For any professional, really. Your documentation is your proof. It's the official story of what was taught, what feedback was given, and that you did things the right way. It's the paper trail of good supervision in action.
Okay, so we've poured that solid ethical foundation. Now we can start building the human framework on top of it. Because the relationship between a supervisor and a supervisee, that's not just a formality. It is a critical part of how learning happens.
So how do we build that strong relationship? Well, we start by completely avoiding the one-size-fits-all trap. A culturally responsive approach gets that fairness isn't about treating every single person the exact same way. It's about giving them the individualized support they need based on their background, their communication style, who they are as a person. And a huge part of this is creating what's called psychological safety. Think about it. Real learning is vulnerable. It takes guts to say, I don't know, or oops, I messed that up. If a trainee is afraid of being embarrassed or punished for not knowing something, guess what? They just stop learning. And it really does boil down to this simple but profound idea. Fear is the enemy of growth. A great supervisor makes a space where asking questions is a good thing, and where mistakes aren't failures. They're just opportunities to get better. All right, now we're getting to the engine of our blueprint. This is the core process, the real how-to of great supervision. And it all comes down to one absolutely fundamental, game-changing role: This right here, this is the loop. And the order is everything. It is non-negotiable. You have to start by assessing what the person can already do. Get a clear baseline. Only then can you find the gaps. And only after that can you choose goals that actually make sense and help them improve.
This is the golden rule. You don't just start throwing random information at someone and hoping some of it sticks. That's just throwing spaghetti at the wall. You have to diagnose before you prescribe. This one little shift makes all the difference. It makes training targeted, efficient, and tailored to what that person actually needs.
So how do you do this whole assessment thing? Well, you've got a few tools in your toolkit. You can just ask them what they know. You can look at the work they've already done. You could have a conversation to test their knowledge. Or you can just watch them do it. And while all those other methods are useful, this one is often the gold standard. It cuts right through the theory and answers the one question that really, truly matters. Can you actually do the thing when it counts? It's the difference between knowing the map and actually being able to navigate the trail. Okay, time to put all the pieces together. Because when you build this blueprint the right way, it does more than just help a trainee. It creates this amazing positive ripple effect that benefits everyone, the clients, the organization, and yeah, the supervisor too. And here it is, the entire blueprint, boiled down to a 6-step checklist that you can actually remember and use. Stay in your lane, be competent, own it, be accountable, build a strong, fair relationship, and always, always, always assess first before you decide on goals. This is your roadmap. So, as we wrap this up, the big question is, now what? I want you to look at this blueprint and really ask yourself, which one of these pieces is my biggest opportunity for growth? What's the one thing I can focus on right now to be a better supervisor or even a better supervisory? Because at the end of the day, great supervision isn't about being perfect. It's about being committed to getting better. Together.